We have two guests today. Our first is Rick Martinez, who serves as Senior Distinguished Engineer for Client Solutions at Dell Technologies. Our second guest is John Boyle, who serves as a Product Manager for Client Solutions at Dell Technologies. So welcome to the podcast, both of you. What are your day-to-day responsibilities as it relates to security?
We essentially create the security strategy to harden and secure our Dell client PCs. Our crystal ball is the adversary, so it's kind of cool that we get to hang out with hackers and other security practitioners so that we can have that 3 to 5 year crystal ball of what the adversaries are going to be doing in that time frame.
And how about you, John?
On the product side, we focus more on the 1 to 3 year vision so that we can pull things in and execute on that.
These are very large systems that we're shipping to customers. They have a lot of memory, they have a lot of compute power. That also means that they have a pretty good threat area or threat surface. So we don't take that lightly. That's one of the reasons we focus so heavily on supply chain security.
We are constantly sending things through the digital supply chain as well as the physical supply chain, and customers want to know that those are authentic parts, that they come from the source as intended, and they have nothing else on those parts or in that code that shouldn't be there.
You're saying security now has really taken the top position in terms of people wanting to purchase new PCs, as an example.
You have price, you have performance, but security, where it's usually in the past been like a checkbox, like yes, security's there. It is very well vetted. It is a lot of the leading questions around supply chain and security. We get a lot of conversations with customers. And it's great because it's nice to see customers really taking that proactive approach with security and supply chain security.
We are constantly evolving just the hardening of the platform, our supply chain security, pretty much everything that we do around manufacturing, developing, and shipping systems to users. There are incremental improvements that we do every day that our engineering teams work on every day that I think are important.
You know, the only person I know who woke up in the morning or got home after school and used the modem to dial into the federal government computer and bring it down was Matthew Broderick in War Games. Other than that, it usually takes like a lot of steps to get that to happen, and that's called the kill chain. And so what we're trying to do is, whether it's the physical type of tamper evidence we have or different things we imbue in the platform or secure component verification, in all the steps of the supply chain and in the life cycle, be as disruptive as possible as a technology partner and security partner to any threats coming our customers' way.
I think there's so much more that we as an industry have to accomplish in terms of the breadth of how important secure supply chain actually is.
I think that we all need to pause and think about that the work we do does impact lives. It's not just sending computers to people to run spreadsheets and to surf the web and that sort of thing. It's that we are impacting businesses that impact real lives. When those are compromised, it's not good for people in the global community. So customers need to really ask their providers or their partners, hey, great, you want to push a product on me because you say it's secure. Have you had any security compromises in the past? Who are your partners? And then there's also the element of how do you manage your development supply chain of your code or your parts or whatever? Do you do pen testing on your own environment?
Rick, you said before that your team operates sort of the 3 to 5 years in the future. How do you do that? How do I know where security needs to go in the future?
Being directly involved in the security community, being involved with security researchers, being involved at the ground level with hackers and other really smart people that know how to break systems, and understanding what they do, not only from a very discrete, okay, they found a vulnerability, they filed a CVE, that's only part of it, but really understanding what they're doing from an adversarial perspective and building that into our threat modeling assumptions.
Like I always tell people too, if you want the simplest, highest return action you can possibly do is just keep updating your system. If you take no other action, just update your system, you're going to take care of a lot of these attacks. And I think we're getting better at that. But again, for all the listeners, if you're working at a company that isn't quickly adopting the security updates from your vendors and deploying them out, you are at risk.
Like we were saying before, we make incremental improvements in security every day and year over year, of course, with products, but we send out BIOS updates, for example, with new features or fixing vulnerabilities and things like that. It's always best to have the latest and greatest on your system.
Rick and John, thanks so much for joining us today on the podcast. It was a great topic. I think it's really important that people understand the importance of supply chain security. I think it's also important they understand that the solutions that come from both Intel and from Dell are compatible. In no way do they compete against each other. The importance of supply chain security is more important now than ever and growing over time. So thanks for being here.
Thanks, y'all. Appreciate it.